08700 40 50 60. We're with Greg in Brighton and Pete in Southampton, so it's a South Coast show at the moment. We're getting reaction to some of the snippets in Leviticus and Exodus and other parts of the Bible which sit there alongside the accusation that homosexuality is an abomination, because if you believe that, you find that you also need to believe in slavery and stoning to death anybody who swears, or indeed anybody who goes to work on the Sabbath day. Give you some idea of the kind of nonsense the company you're keeping.
Carry on.
Yeah, why don't you try putting it away for a while and working a few things out all for yourself?
Yeah,
which somebody has sent in just to change the tenor of the conversation, although it does have a vaguely religious theme. So I'll read it out and I'll find out later if I shouldn't have done, okay? 3 nuns in a church on a hot day decide to remove their robes because of the heat. Not an unusual habit on a hot day. So about half an hour later, the doorbell rings whilst their robes are slumped over the pews in the huge chapel. They ask who it is. A voice replies, "The blind man." The 3 nuns decide to simply open the door because the man is blind. So he walks in, looks at the nuns and says, "Nice tits, where do you want me to install these blinds?" Yeah, it's okay, 10, 11 o'clock. What a smart, a few faces, isn't it? 08700 40 50 60. It was entirely mine. Asid has has emailed to say that the Noah's Ark story, for example, is BS. If only 8 people on the same family survived, then how come we have all the different races on Earth? That's a very good point. And I would like to know why Noah decided that pubic lice would go. We'll keep them, he said. Or did he? And tapeworms. Did he say, yes, we'll have a tapeworm? Surely not. You think of all the animal rubbish that there is. Jellyfish, they were all right, weren't they? Because it was a flood. Sorry, forget that bit of the argument. Saw a beautiful jellyfish when I was in the Mediterranean. Frightening looking thing. Desperately tempted to touch it just to see if you get a sting, like you do with nettles when you're little. Grasping of the nettle or the grasping of the jellyfish? The nettle that's being grasped this evening is that there isn't half an awful lot of seriously poisonous tosh in the Bible. Luckily, most of the people who come across it are able to recognize it for what it is. Even at the time of writing, it wasn't very pleasant, but they don't build it into their lives. Unfortunately, there are a few people who have views which are of serious concern to the bulk of us. They sometimes find some comfort for their argument in some of the things that are in the Bible. If you believe that homosexuality is an abomination, you also have to believe that the time has come for you to think about selling your daughter as a slave.
Tommy Boyds, didn't it?
You're not brave.
Most of the Sunday papers I've got in front of me are quite big on the story that an opinion poll puts William Hague's Conservatives ahead of the Labour Party. I'm just trying to get the actual numbers on it, by a couple of percent. It could be entirely different in a couple of weeks' time. It's obviously a hangover from the petrol crisis thing. There doesn't seem to me to be a great deal that I ought to be bringing you now that's in the Sunday papers, but I will on your behalf work through them. My name's Tommy Boyd. We've been talking this evening about some of the information that's been published on the internet, some selections from parts of the Bible where it explains that homosexuality is an abomination. That portion of the Bible is also heavily populated with other ideas, supporting slavery, supporting the putting to death of people who work on a Sunday and people who blaspheme, and also explaining why you may not approach God if you have something wrong with your eyesight, or indeed if you have, during your life, worn clothes which were made from more than one fibre. And the point of this is simply this. If you believe that homosexuality is an abomination, can you not see who you're sitting next to on this one? who you are with on this one. A bunch of people who surely weren't in touch with very much 5,000 years ago. And this kind of thinking today is an absolute nonsense, a painful pile of nonsense. And there are young people listening to this show now who are coming to terms with a sexuality and wondering if their sexuality is going to be acceptable to other people. Whereas in actual fact, it is a private celebration of an important part of being a human being. In short, it's hardly any of anybody else's business, as long as it involves consenting adults. 08700 40 50 60. Sorry if you don't like it, but we're heading towards the future, and it looks warm. Barman calls from Crawley. Barman, you're on Talksport.
Hello, I'm a Persian, and I can't speak very well, but I believe that the questions you had about homosexuality and other things, there is an answer to it, you see. If they're innocent, in the case of homosexuality, if they're innocent, if anybody's innocent about anything and they were born like it, then they have no problem. Because I'm originally Muslim, but I've studied Christianity, and my personal belief is believing just in God and the scientific point of view and the analysis of everything in life.
So you don't mind other people doing what it is they want to do, as long as they don't affect you?
No, about homosexuality, if they're innocent, if they're born with it, they got no problem. And
what's
about
the alternative to being born with it? Is there an alternative to this innocence and being born with it? You seem to think that there is another form of homosexuality which has something which is not innocent and with which one is not, as you put it, born.
Well, the other form is that anybody who's guilty about anything has a guilty conscience. I mean, for instance, you have a show and you talk straight to people and you don't have nothing to hide and you go ahead with anything. That's absolutely wonderful. And getting to the answer with completely innocence and honesty, trying to get to the answer is perfect. It's just the right thing to do. And about the glasses, wearing glasses, and this is actually originated. I mean, the Bible's been written many years ago, and it's been touched. It's been, hands have got into it. This was originated from the point of being blind. Being blind, not blind in the eyes actually, but blind in the mind and their hearts.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. Funnily enough, it was an interpretation that was arrived at by somebody who helps work on this show, John, who himself doesn't believe in God. I just wondered sometimes whether perhaps not believing in God gives you an opportunity to think things through in such a way that you might come across some godlike truths more easily and more efficiently and more substantially than if you simply read the rule book, which is what religious books are to some people.
Yeah, I mean, the best religious book is in the person's mind,
No,
analysis.
Well said. That is a beautiful thing to say, sir. I thank you for your call, Barman.
It's all right, yes.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Nice man. 08700 40 50 60. You're tuned to Talk Sport. Lynn is on the line from Liverpool. Hi, Lynn.
Hello, I've been listening to your programme, and I would like to ask you, if you don't believe in God, then I'm wondering to myself now, do you believe in life hereafter, or do you believe that once you are dead, you are dead?
Well, I don't think I believe in either of those things, since you ask.
Is it something you've never thought about then?
How does that question follow on from what I just said?
Well, it's really interesting me. If a person doesn't believe in God, we all die.
Yes.
Do you think you may Do you think you may believe in God when you're on your deathbed? I've heard people say things like this. I'm just turning these things over in my mind now.
Is that the question? Do I think I'll believe in God on my deathbed? No, I think I'll have a lot more cojones than to change the way I might believe, simply because there's a possibility that there's one extra insurance policy out there I could take.
It's sad, but you feel that way, I think.
Which way?
That you're just thinking about insurance policies, and when you're on your deathbed. I think that's quite sad.
You don't really understand what I'm saying, do you?
Oh, I do. I understand more than
No, you don't. You haven't listened to a word I've said, and I've got a feeling that you've listened to the whole program and not understood very much of it.
I have listened to the program, and I think you do believe there is a God, and I believe that you think you are God because your opinions are so high and mighty of yourself. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
You're off now, aren't you? Slam the phone down, then go on. Nobody else has to deal with members of the public like that, not even people in complaints booths at department stores. Nobody else has to deal. She's waited for about half an hour to come out with that. You know, I honestly wonder. I wonder about some of us. I really do. And I really, really do wonder about some of us on planet Earth. When a caller comes on the phone, I can't help but form a visualization of what they might look like. And from that, I also get some kind of image of the room that they're calling from in their home and the life that they're kind of leading. And then they start to talk, and you think to yourself, but what must it have been like then for these people's friends and children and colleagues down the years? Are they responsible for the way this person is? Or has this person been responsible for some of the ways that those people now are? And it's rigidity through an absolute inability to try and work out what it is another person is trying to say that leads to that kind of thinking, that leads to that kind of certainty. There were no questions in the lady's mind. The lady wasn't asking a question. The lady wanted to make an inaccurate and unpleasant point. That was what drove her to wait on the phone for half an hour, to say that to somebody she didn't know. She doesn't understand, couldn't begin to understand. But that's the beauty of phoning. You get a good idea of who you're sharing planet Earth with. And a very valuable experience it is too. I wonder how many politicians listen. I'm told quite a few. I'm told a lot of politicians listen because the only other chance they get to meet the public is when they hold their surgeries on a Saturday morning. And all they meet there are the kind of busybodies who think they're important enough to ask their MP to look into their probate problem. Or they get held up on a train for 45 minutes and don't get their ticket refunded, so they go and see their MP on a Saturday morning, which of course is a waste of a politician's time. And politicians, if they're not careful, end up with a slight unconscious dislike for members of the public. So that if you write and say, I'm coming to the chamber, would it be possible to meet and maybe you could show me around, they'll find a jolly good reason why they're busy elsewhere. So how else can they find out who it is they're working on behalf of? I'm told quite a lot of them listen to phone-in programs. Glad to be doing the work, ladies and gentlemen. If it weren't for the fact that I'm paid more than you are.
On 1089 and 10:53 a.m. Talksport.
Discussing the Bible and homosexuality and some of the other things that are condemned and supported in the Bible around about the same time that they came up with the idea that homosexuality is an abomination. And who, before we got onto this, which is, wouldn't you really like to tell them yourself? Now, the power of being confronted with the living, breathing person who believes that you're getting something slightly wrong is n to the power of n compared to the influence that you have over people when you're simply a remote voice coming out of a piece of electronic equipment in the corner of the room. And it was, as you told us, a person saying these things to you in the flesh so that you could see the expression on their face, feel the power of their presence, Hear the words for yourself with your own ears coming out of their mouths, not via the media, that made that fundamental change in your life. And you've illustrated that point yourself. So, if you really want to achieve this, if you really do want to achieve that change in other people, you're going to have to find a way, and I wish you well because you're right to want to do it, you're going to have to find a way to say so to these girls.
Well, it might... some of them got the boyfriends with me, it might hit me.
all of that. But what I can tell you, and I've got 25 years of solid experience of this, I can tell you with absolute certainty, you won't stop anybody smoking by having a pop at it on the radio.
I'm not bothered about...
You're nicely toned, good-looking and sexy. I've often wondered, and I think a lot of men do. And on the same subject, I suppose, Simon Williams has emailed from Preston. Preston, absolutely positive and without a question of doubt, I'm sure that China is, in fact, a man. Email. If you haven't got the email, you're not missing an awful lot, because what isn't platitudinous and jejune is poisonous. But you do get I've got a really good relationship with a couple of people who've been emailing the show, and I email them back. So it has its pluses as well as its minuses. Betty's on the line now from Gloucester.
Right. Well, my son works there.
Does he? Is he a spy? What?
I wouldn't even tell you if he was.
Why not?
Why should I? Perhaps I am.
Perhaps I am. Perhaps I don't exist.
Maybe so.
And then what have we got?
Simon,
I mean, when you boil it down, we don't know anything, do we?
Not really.
No.
We think we know it all.
Well, every society is characterised by this and this only, that they believe that almost everything that is worth knowing has been learned already. Yeah.
I'm willing to learn every day of my life.
Oh, you're
none of us know it all.
I'm the same as you.
Simon, I'm saying Simon. We just had a big dinner party tonight, so a little bit tiddly.
What were you drinking?
Who, me?
Yes.
Whiskey.
Marvellous.
I don't usually drink, Tommy, because I had cancer 20 years ago. 18 months they gave me. But I'm still alive and kicking. And I say it was the spirit. It was so remarkable, the whole lot of it. I'm writing a book now.
All right.
But having said that, I agreed with that gentleman who said about pregnant women smoking. And my partner, who recently died, was quite an incredible person. He did smoke. He did drink. But 6 years before he died, all I said to him was, what did I say to him now? If you can't breathe, you die. He gave up cigarettes that very same moment. But he died 6 years later of emphysema and cancer. And I have told pregnant girls about this, and they've given up as well. If you take them to Cheltenham, to the cancer place there, and show them the bad lung, the good lung, they just run away.
Yes. Sorry, Betty, I was given the impression that you wanted to celebrate an amazing dinner party that you've just
Yes,
held,
we did.
and that you had some uplifting points about racism.
Yes.
And here we are. It's all tumours and warnings.
Right. Right, Tommy. I cannot stand racism.
No.
I call America the big Satan. I'm off to India in January.
Oh, you're down on everything. Now, look. Let's come up here. I'm not interested in your views of Satan. You had you want to talk about how there are better things than racists. People who are not racist.
That's right.
Marvellous. Now we're getting positive
That's
here.
right.
Yes.
But why are people racist?
Well, let's not go down on them.
I've travelled all over the world.
Well, let's celebrate people who aren't racist, rather than have a good old, burn a few racists at the stake, because then we're only as bad as them, aren't we? We're singling out a group of people who deserve our vilification, even though they don't really know better. What's the difference between doing that and being a racist just because people are black?
Exactly.
Ah, exactly. Yes. So love thy neighbour, even if he's a bit of a racist.
No, I won't.
Oh, okay.
No, I won't.
Fair enough.
I really won't love my neighbour because he's racist. I cannot understand why people are racist.
No, well, that's
I've travelled the world, Tommy, and if
you
I
just
didn't...
agreed. No, hang on. You just agreed with me.
To a
when I-
point I did.
No, you didn't. You just agreed with me wholeheartedly. When I said
Well-
when I said that the out-of-hand condemnation of a group of people simply because they are ignorant is almost as bad as being racist just because a person is black.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, it is.
I don't think so.
Well, it is.
I know
It's the same
people...
thing. They're dispossessed. It's not the fault of the racist that they're ignorant, you know. It's not their fault. They're just ignorant.
It's beyond comprehension regarding people who are racist.
Not for me, it's not. I can comprehend it.
Well, I can't.
Well, I'll
So the
help you
person-
then. I'll
the
help
per-
you. No, you said you like learning. I'll hold you
Yes,
to this.
I'm learning every day, but...
Well, learn this
one-
then. What,
Tommy,
learn this then. Learn this. Let's learn this together. What then causes a person to be racist if it's not the poverty of ignorance?
True.
Right. So, if they are impoverished,
Yes.
then we must...
Feel sorry for them.
No. We must provide. And if their poverty is in the realm of knowledge and education, we must provide. We must, as that previous caller on this subject said, give them an opportunity to work with and associate with people of all types, all backgrounds.
Wouldn't it be a wonderful world if we did?
We'll get there.
Do you think... Oh, yes, I'm sure we will get
No
there.
question about it.
I'm sure we will get there.
Maybe not in our lifetime.
Well, let me just tell you this, Tommy. There is no superior being on this planet.
There is.
Who?
Me.
Not even the Queen of England. Only the Almighty.
No. I'd go 15 rounds with him. If it gets to be my lot and he thinks he's going to tell me how I've done, I would like to tell him how I think he's done. And if he's the kind of God that I can imagine there might be, although not that I fully believe in, then he would want to know, actually. Because that's how it should be between a father and a son. A father should want to know from his son, as well as a son want to know from his father. And that's how I see the God that there is, if there is a God. He's something like a good father. Yeah, it's a crime in Germany to do something which is called Holocaust denial.
Yes.
What's his name? David Irving has just been reduced to poverty through the courts for attempting Holocaust denial in this country.
Yes, indeed.
And he tried to sue somebody over it, and the courts found against him.
Yeah.
And he was pilloried in the court for his attempts at what other people call Holocaust denial.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of people in this country, and I'm sure you've met them and you've had to listen to them, who say, first of all, well, we should forget about slavery. Nobody says we should forget about the Holocaust.
No, because it was on record, it's on film,
Look,
it was quite recent.
Do you know
it
what
makes a big difference.
Do you know what I feel like doing? You know that they built a Holocaust exhibit at the War Museum in London,
Okay, yeah.
so that people can see what Germans
yeah.
did during
yeah.
the Second World War
Yeah,
to Jews, Gypsies and others.
yeah.
But in Liverpool,
Okay,
which was the world
Oh,
headquarters
absolutely.
of slavery,
Yeah.
okay, I don't think you'll find a plaque even
No,
to record what just 200 or 300 years ago
exactly.
was commonplace and accepted, and with the exception of the Holocaust, the biggest besmirchment on Western civilization.
Yeah, on humanity, on human beings.
In history. Well, I can't speak
Yeah.
for anything that might have gone on in Asia but that I don't know about.
Would you define it?
Well, it would only be a personal one.
Yeah.
It wouldn't stand up in court. It would be a long way away from anything you'll read in a dictionary.
Okay.
But for me,
Uh-huh.
it is when a person experiences either emotional pain,
Yeah,
physical pain,
okay.
or tangible dispossession
Yeah,
at the hands of another person or persons solely because they are a part or a member of a different racial group. I think that identifying that there may be differences between races, as long as absolutely no pain or harm is done in that identification, and I'm not sure if that's possible.
yeah. But when you say racial groups, Do you mean people of different colours?
Largely, I
Yes.
mean when white people do that to black people.
And vice versa? Because black
Less so
people
for me.
can vibe white people.
Sure, but less so for me.
Most definitely. There's no doubt about
I've
that.
never felt it. I've never met anybody who
it's the
could
fear.
really genuinely claim. Yeah,
It's a
perhaps.
fear factor that white people just are afraid of black people.
Oh, mate, I can tell you. Let me tell you the story that I have told before, but you may not have heard. But I mean, this is for me how it was. My folks are fantastic. My parents, my grandparents, they're good people. But
Yeah.
just as, supposing some aliens landed on Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were the same as us, more or less,
Yeah.
humanoid, but sort of green and slightly different
Okay.
somehow, intangibly. And there was one, right, who occasionally walked past the end of your road. You would actually look, wouldn't you?
Of course.
Yeah, I know. See, so what happened to me was I was brought up in a part of London where there weren't any black people,
Yeah.
except for one guy
Yeah.
who worked in the coal depot of the railway station.
Okay.
And if I was a good boy, when I was taken out in my pushchair,
Oh.
shopping,
Yeah.
if I was a good boy, then my gran would make the detour and take me via the railway sidings so that I could see the darkie.
Yeah. Okay. And
And I
your
used,
point is...
I used to look through the bars
Yeah.
of the railway siding in much the same way as I would look through the bars if I'd been taken to see the zoo. But I got this treat long before my family could afford to take me to the zoo.
Yeah. And are you trying to say that that's possibly racist? Is there something wrong
I'm
with
trying
that?
to say that I'm trying... No, I'm
Because
just trying to say that that's
That's how you were
how
brought
it
up.
was. And my family, who are sensitive, who are intelligent, I mean, they're not geniuses,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't have knowingly done any harm or been a part of any process
Yes.
that led to any harm,
Yeah.
and yet their curiosity about seeing somebody from Africa, well, obviously
Yeah.
now we know he's probably from the Caribbean,
Okay.
got the better of any of their higher senses.
Yeah, but Tommy...
And because I was 3 or 4,
Yeah.
what the danger was that I was going to get the idea that this man was some kind of animal that had to be caged. Because
Oh.
nobody actually explained to me
I see.
that the bars
Yeah.
were to stop people climbing into the railway siding at night and nicking coal.
I understand, Ken.
I
You
know. I'll tell you what happened to me. This is the closest I could get to knowing what that might be like. Years ago, I did an acting job where I had to play a Japanese person.
Right.
Let's not go into the whys and wherefores. They couldn't get a Japanese
Right.
guy. But anyway,
Okay.
so it was a big makeup job,
Uh-huh.
and it involved, amongst other things, sticking some very gluey substance called toupee tape to the sides of my temples, and tying string to them and drawing it back
Wow.
behind my head so that my eyes, changed
Yeah.
in their shape.
Yeah.
Then my skin was coloured.
Yeah.
I was given a very dark black tight wig. I was fitted with a body piece to make me look portly, and I was given some glasses to wear and teeth, false teeth. It was a huge makeup job, but by God, I looked Japanese.
Yeah.
Now, this job of work was happening at a huge television studio where I'd worked a lot, and I knew 50 or 100 people, technicians, producers, directors, and so forth, very well indeed.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, before we could actually go onto the set, lunch was called. So I went to lunch with somebody I knew, and I walked the length of this television establishment, which was a huge place, about 150 yards through various corridors, through doors, connecting doors, down some stairs, up some stairs, along another corridor. All the while, I'm passing people.
Uh-huh.
People who normally, when they saw me, would, with their eyes, connect.
Yes.
With
Yes.
open eyes, connect. Their body language would open towards me, and they would smile and nod. They might even say, "Did you see the match the other night?"
Oh, yeah.
I was never able, in all the years that I worked there subsequently, to tell those people that I had seen another side to them.
Wow.
That I had seen the look in their face.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah.
The look in their face and the dark thoughts they were experiencing and projecting onto
Yes.
a Japanese man.
Yes. Yes.
But I felt it, and one guy actually deliberately let a door shut in my face.
Wow. Yeah.
And he was a guy I knew and liked and used to, and in fact I think I took to a football match once.
Yeah.
So I'll never know what it's
all
like
about
to be a black.
projection.
Yeah,
It's
but
a lot to do with that.
all I'm saying is that to have to live with that on a daily basis, that kind of thing on a daily basis, would drive me to distraction and drive me to a madness.
You know, that's interesting that you should say that, Tommy, because as a rule, black men know that they are feared greatly. You know, they enter a room and people grab their handbags. And here in Hackney, I cannot get over how many young black men are walking the street completely mad. Young black men, completely mad.
I've often wondered whether it's possible that in some sensitive young black men, the realization of racism and that it's going to be with them for life can tip them over an edge.
Definitely, yeah.
These asylum seekers and immigrants coming into the country are actually just people who are frightened for their jobs, and they're frightened for their jobs probably because they're fairly incompetent, rather than any other reason.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they're so poorly paid, they'd hardly claim that people coming in from abroad to work are going to be able to undercut them. These are not people who are pulling down 60k. Whilst you get, whilst some folk are haranguing me. On the other hand, you can't beat a good argument, can you? If there's an argument going on in the pub, you want to know what it's all about, don't you? There you are, sat in the corner with your mates, and suddenly one of you goes, shh, those two are having a ding-dong. And over the other side of the pub, there's a bloke and his woman, and they're having a pop. You can either tell from the body language, you know, they're seething a bit, or else they're actually going, I've told you, and you want to know, you're interested. Whoa, bit of conflict. Sucks us in. So keep them coming. Line them up. Bring on another one. Bring on some more meat. 08700 40 50 60. Yeah, you see, you and me are fellow students of the human condition. And my take on a Saturday night has always been that Elton John got it about right in that song.
All right for fighting.
You either pull a bird or get in a fight.
Yeah.
But I mean that metaphorically.
Yeah, but why don't we all...
Well, there's a lot wrong in what you say. You can't say the nation wanted petrol increase. That's it. That's lazy.
No, the nation wanted petrol to be cheaper.
No, that's not true. Look. Let's get tight and tidy here, shall we? Let's see how clever we both are. You cannot say that because you only need one person in the nation who doesn't want the price reduced, and you cannot say the nation. Okay, fine. Then in that case, then if you want to be up to this conversation, you have to be precise and say.
People wanted.
Right. Say that then. Say that then. Every word is precious. This is talk radio. This is phone in. We're using language. That's all we've got.
Point taken.
All we've got. I can't see your face. I can't see your hand gestures. I don't know anything about you. All I've got is the words you're using. And when you say lazy things like the nation wanted a check, that's not true.
Well, okay, I corrected that.
And what you need to say as well is the people that you know.
The people that I know.
Yeah. And that's not very many, is it?
I know a few people.
20?
No, more than that.
50?
My family.
See my point? And who else do you know? You know the people that were interviewed and the people that were chosen to appear on television, on radio, and be quoted.
No, I don't know all those people. I saw people demonstrating. I saw people protesting.
That's
I saw
right.
petrol queues.
Via a media that wanted the story.
Well, I was out there too. I'm a car owner. I was in queues myself, queuing for petrol. I was talking to fellow drivers, people who work in the petrol stations.
That's right. Well, obviously you're going to get one slant on that.
Well, as a car owner, I'd like petrol to be cheaper. I do think, if that many people are concerned.
Yeah, I know, but let me hit you with this one then. I mean, it's pure greed and laziness that gives you this opinion about an issue.
Greed and laziness?
Yes, isn't it? Really?
Wanting to save money?
Yes. Because what are you going to spend it on? Rubbish.
Well, not necessarily.
You buy rubbish. We all buy rubbish.
Yeah, we all buy things that we don't really need. We're a consumer society. But that doesn't mean I'm going to take every penny.
The 75 pence that we're going to save, motorists are going to save a week. What are they going to do with it? Do you really think they're going to invest it wisely or buy more valuable things with it than the government could, because the government will be spending it on schools and hospitals.
So
What
they
will you
can.
do with your 75 pence? Tell me, Chris.
Well, it adds up over a time.
No, tell me what you're going to do with it.
With
Because I know what you can do with it. You're going to buy a Mars bar with it, aren't you? Are you funding a
probably-
school or a hospital?
No, I'm not.
The government is.
No, I'm not.
The government is.
So you're saying you agree with the government?
Now, you think about it. You're going to take 75 pence, put it in your pocket. It would have gone into a hospital or a school. But that doesn't matter to you. Because what matters to you is your 75 pence.
No, I didn't say it doesn't matter to me whether or not schools or hospitals are properly funded. Of course I care about those things. I'm simply saying that, you know, they make... We heard about all these reserves of cash that they have because of the tax that they've imposed already. And I'm saying, you know, even if it's a small saving, shouldn't we have it? Or
To do what with? We're back to that point. I want to know what you want to do with your money when you get it for your 75 pence a week.
So that I can spend it on myself.
On what?
On whatever I choose.
Which might be what? Come on, mate. You must have some things that you need that cost 75 pence, because it means that much to you that you're prepared to choose.
I might buy more chewing gum. I might buy a magazine.
Fantastic, more chewing gum. You're going to buy more chewing gum, and
I might save up over a period of time. You know, the money that I've saved. You know, say I've been driving for 6 months. Who knows what I might buy?
Go on, then give me an example.
I might buy a suit of clothes.
A suit of clothes. So
I might
there
buy
you
some
are.
more discs for my computer.
So what you need then, what you need to know, that in democracy, okay, we have to appeal to a man's need to buy a new suit and chew the gum of choice, okay?
Yeah, but it's about us
I haven't finished.
working for our money.
I haven't finished. Against a decaying hospital or an underfunded school. Now, if you live in a democracy, you're asking for politicians to come forward who want to and need to staff and fund those hospitals and schools by fooling you into thinking that you will get your suit and your chewing gum. Because if you're a complete human being, you will know that the schools and the hospitals are more important than your trashy suit and your appalling taste in sweets.
Well, I'm not saying that I don't want schools and
Now, in
hospitals to be
China, which is the system which deserves examination,
Yep.
they're free from having to pander to men and women for whom a suit and some chewing gum is more important than a school and a hospital.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't have choice.
Some people shouldn't have choice.
Some people shouldn't have choice. We should have politicians that think for us and lay down policies that we never question or get a chance to question.
Well, that's your interpretation of what I've said. It's one of the poorest interpretations I have ever heard of somebody else's high and right-minded views.
No, you said we should be free from the burden. So if we're free from the burden, it means they do the thinking and we do the following.
Well, in your world, maybe that's how it would be if you were in charge, not how it would be if I was in charge, and not how it would be, and not how it is in China.
Okay.
Yeah. Go there.
Right.
Study their political system. See how it works. Come back and tell me what you find out.
If I do, I will.
You won't, will you? Because you're after your suit and your chewing gum more than wisdom.
No, I love travelling. I travel a lot.
Yes, you do. Well, you're a car owner.
Not just by car.
I bet you know the best way to Hillingdon and back, don't you?
I don't, actually.
Well, first of all, I think you want to get on the M40. No, the M4, probably. The M4, which from Wood Green, well, it's easily accessed, isn't it? Because you could either come back... Doesn't matter. 08700 40 50 60 is the telephone number. We're just really dreadfully cruel of so many people. Well, that appalling journalist who writes in one of the papers... Little John, banging on about him being a grinning jackanapes. That is just so pathetic. So, shallow and cheap and just unkind. It's just unkind. It's not the way you want your children to behave. It's not the way you want your parents to behave. It's not the way you want anybody to behave towards somebody who is just doing the most difficult job in the country and kind of, more or less, most of the time getting it almost right. Such cruelty and so unnecessary. 08700 40 50 60 is the telephone number. You're tuned to Talksport. We'll talk sport, we'll talk news, we'll talk about whatever is on your mind. It's a phone-in show and goes through into tomorrow morning. My name is Tommy Boyd. That number again is 08700 40 50 60. We'll get some more emails and check them out in about 10 minutes' time. You want to go to our website, which is talksport.net, and click on the...
Literally swallow words which are our own feelings.
Yes, that's all extremely interesting, but isn't it bilious rubbish, this stuff in the Bible?
I mean, some of the stories are, are quite moral and yeah, but yeah, some of it is, yeah.
Oh, don't you sit on the fence.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.